My name is Sarah Kelly. I am your welfare officer for this year, and myself and the lovely Holly Hagan are going to give you a quick talk on cyberbullying. So this year, obviously with coronavirus, all of our platforms have changed to online, from online classrooms to social media. So in this talk, we've prepared a few slides as well, just to tell you how, when and where cyberbullying happens, and if it is happening to you, what to do. At the end of the presentation, we'll give you a list of helplines and resources that you can use if you are struggling. So please sit back, listen, and enjoy. Be strong now, because it will get better. Just because it's stormy outside doesn't mean the rain won't stop. You're stronger than you know and stronger than you think. And everyone knows how strong you can be. So don't doubt yourself. You've got this. Cyberbullying can be described as a personal attack on you by one or more individuals using digital technology of all types, via text message, phone call, and social media. These cyberbullies use digital technology to harass, threaten, or just to embarrass you. Especially in the current environment we find ourselves in, cyberbullying will most likely be prominent, as the majority of our lives are online now, from schoolwork to online class and video calls. The actual definition of cyberbullying says it's an aggressive intentional act carried out by a group or an individual using electronic forms of contact, repeatedly and over time, against a victim who cannot easily defend him or herself. Cyberbullies come in all shapes and sizes. Anyone with an internet connection or an electronic device can be a cyberbully. From simple comments on social media posts to constant phone calls, anything constant and online can be seen as cyberbullying. Technology means that bullying is no longer limited to schoolyards or street corners. Cyberbullying can occur anywhere, even at home, via smartphones, emails, texts, and social media, 24 hours a day with the potential of hundreds of people involved. That share button on your phone is the most powerful button you have. How cyberbullying happens. Cyberbullying is nerve-wracking in that the person bullied never knows when and where to expect another attack. It can happen anywhere. They often have little protection, as bullies will change their usernames or hide behind anonymous posts and users. The result often causes serious issues with low self-esteem, trust and fear, with greater risks of self-isolation, depression and even suicide. The difference between bullying and cyberbullying. Bullying is face-to-face. With bullying, you can find somewhere to hide, you can escape it. Also with bullying, the bully can be identified, and it's only limited to the onlookers. You can see facial and body reactions from the target and from the onlookers as a bully, which drives bullies. Whereas in cyberbullying, it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. There's no safe space and nowhere to hide. It's shared by a wide audience and can go viral within seconds. Bullies can be anonymous, it's harder to empathise with the target, there's no geographical location or limitations, and the target can easily become the bully. Cyberbullying in college. Prominent components of cyberbullying in college can include electronic criticisms of identity, sexual harassment and outing of private and personal information such as sexual orientation or health diagnosis without consent. Promotion of open dialogue and speech is a hallmark of any college experience. However, heated online debates have the potential to devolve into personal attacks and harassment. Bullying behaviours that attack college students' identities may have a considerable impact, given that undergraduate years are critical for the adult identity formation. For example, as with face-to-face bullying, both boys and girls cyberbully, but they tend to do it in different ways. Boys tend to bully by sexting, sending messages of a sexual nature to their friends or just posting them online. Boys also tend to cyberbully by sending messages that threaten physical harm. For example, I'm going to beat you up after school. Girls, on the other hand, more commonly cyberbully by spreading lies and rumours, exposing your secrets, or by excluding you from social media groups or emails. So, scenario time. Owen comes home from school every day and logs onto his Facebook account to see what everyone's up to. Today, Owen notices that he has a message request from another boy in his class. Owen goes into the message and it reads, "You're such a freak, nobody likes you." Owen is completely upset and doesn't reply to the message. For the next 2 weeks, Owen receives daily messages from this individual telling him to kill himself, saying nobody likes him, and just horrible things in general. Owen can't stop looking at these messages and doesn't know what to do. So Holly is going to say what Owen should do and give him advice on how to help himself.
I'm just going to quickly look at Sarah's scenario and give a solution to what Owen should do. So firstly, what he is doing is he is taking the right steps. He is not retaliating and writing nasty comments back. He is not responding to the messages, but he is just ignoring them. And that is so important, because not only can an individual become obsessed with the messages, believing that what is being said about them is true, but it also will encourage even more nasty negative behavior, because they are giving the cyberbully the attention and the reaction that they are hoping for. The next thing that he should do, if possible, is get evidence, take screenshots, because unfortunately cyberbullies do know what they are doing, and they can claim that the conversation never happened and remove themselves from the conversation. The next important thing is to report and block the bully, so the social media platform can further investigate the act of the cyberbully, as well as not giving them access to your accounts, because therefore they are not able to contact you and send you all of these nasty, rude messages. It is also really important in Owen's case for him to be able to contact a lecturer or a student, a classmate, some form of support, because times like this, when you are victimized by a cyberbully, it can be very lonely and very frustrating, and it can be very scary to ask for help and admit that you were getting harassed online. So if you were to contact somebody, it can almost encourage you to want to get the help and to get the problem solved, because you know there is a genuine mode of support there for you. So whether that is a lecturer email or meeting up with a classmate in person, don't be afraid to ask for the help, because there is nothing wrong with wanting to solve a negative problem in your life. There is nothing wrong with not wanting to be a victim. So I'm going to launch into who is a victim and who is a perpetrator of bullying. And even though it is most commonly found to happen amongst youth groups, it can really happen at any age, unfortunately. So it can be from playground antics to online working environments. And this happens when you're surrounded by your peers, which can be a person of similar age, interest, ethnicity, social class, and so on. And with online learning becoming the most frequent method for education, it is to a cyberbully's advantage to victimize a student, because they do not have to do this in a public setting. And this can also put pressure on the victim themselves, because they would not have the courage to meet up with their peers and discuss and admit that a classmate is in fact harassing them. And it is important to note what or who may a perpetrator target. So when it comes to being online, there are so many ways a victim can be targeted, whether that is singularly by one bully or collectively by a group of bullies. And they target such things as your interests, your sexual orientation, social class, and so on, because these are part of your identity. And identities are important to people because they create a sense of self and who they are, whether that is something they inherited from their family or something they chose to identify as, or something they also inherited from their environment. Such examples of this are your natural hair color, which you inherited from your family and your environment, your choice in music and sexual orientation. That in itself, like I said, is a choice. Or even the sex that you were born as, that is also due to your environment. But these are all part of an identity, or what makes you who you are. So before I go into talking about stigma, I just want to quickly mention this image here, which looks to be a man in a box in the corner, and then he is slowly progressing to be on the other side, which is where he is communicating and getting support from peers, people with similarities just like him. And when you stigmatize a person, you are putting them in a box and pushing them to the corner just because they have a certain personality trait or identity that you may not agree with or find natural or familiar. And this can be very damaging to a person, because this is maybe how they identify themselves and associate themselves with the world. So when you push them to the side just because you don't agree with them, it can make them feel that they do not fit in. So this man is slowly finding people who have similarities just like him, who care just as much as he does, and he is coming out of that box because he is truly beginning to see and believe who he is as a person. So when actually looking at stigma, you can define it as an attribute that is deeply discrediting. And what this means is that the stigmatized person possesses a trait or characteristic that a society views as unnatural and negative. And when this society or group of individuals is faced with this unnatural event, they tend to stigmatize the person into that label and push them away just because they are not familiar or similar with it. And four headings of this are labeling, stereotyping, social exclusion, and discrimination. Labeling is calling someone a geek for liking video games that are sciencey. Social exclusion is basically when you don't include people in your activities because you don't have similar interests or beliefs or anything like that. Then there is stereotyping, calling women and men weak for crying, or just total discrimination, hating someone and disliking them for their skin tone. So I'm just going to quickly recap on myself and Sarah's scenario and solution from earlier, just to remind you guys that there always is a solution for yourself or for others out there when dealing with cyberbullying. And the first point I had mentioned was to do not retaliate, write back nasty comments, and do not reread them, because not only will you become more obsessed with believing that these comments are true about yourself, but you will also continuously encourage the negative behavior, and that is something that nobody wants. Then I said to get evidence if possible, just so you have proof that the conversation did happen, and then you should report and block the user so that they do not have access online to be able to send you harassing messages, and then contact a moderator or a classmate if possible, just so you have the steady support and so you feel less alone. Like I said before, people are not only going to get the help, but they're going to want the help when they know there is support behind them. So if you do know somebody who is dealing with cyberbullying, please support them in any way that you can, because it will really benefit the person, because they will actually feel that they can have this situation fixed and they can no longer be harassed by that person online. And another tip is to read a book, go for a nice walk, put the phone and the laptop down for an hour or two, maybe even a couple more hours than that. Just isolate yourself away from technology, because then you can think to yourself what is right and wrong in this situation. You can tell yourself that this problem is fixable and that it will go away and it won't last forever, and maybe include your friends in those activities so that you know that the support is still there. And one thing that I have to mention that is really important is that technology was not made for bullies and cyberbullies. Unfortunately, this is how it has turned out to be. So advocate those anti-bullying, anti-cyberbullying campaigns. Contribute in any way that you can, whether that is to raise money for a cause, or even just post things, share information, create talks yourself, just for people to be more informed about this. Unfortunately, the steps that you take may not erase bullying and cyberbullying straight away, but it is a positive step forward, and I believe that everyone should at least do some part in it. Do not let a peer or a cyberbully or a bully in general encourage you and influence you to act in similar behaviours towards a certain individual, because there are scenarios where people think they are having fun and games, and that the person who is the victim is just over dramatising the situation, while truly that victim could actually feel, as the word says itself, victimized. They could genuinely be hurt and damaged from the behavior that you have towards them, and this could not only put a negative effect on them but also on you, because then you continue creating these patterns thinking it's all fun and games when it's truly just hurtful for a person. So you should be able to step aside and look at yourself and check what you are doing, whether or not it is right or wrong, because that is very important in a situation, because you do not want to learn these negative, nasty behaviours. When it comes to DBS as a college, we have so many resources and facilities available for you guys to use, whether that be an online Zoom call for you to use Monday to Friday, 9 AM to 5 PM. Could that be a personal matter, or it could be an academic related question that is there for you guys to use. We also have a DBS virtual common room which can be used by you, which is run by our student union. We are there to entertain you guys throughout the day and keep up the fun. We also have a very own student run DBS welfare team consisting of people like myself and Sarah. We also have a VP for welfare and equality. We have an international officer, welfare officer, and we have our welfare supports. We are there to keep you guys really happy. We also have such things as a DBS student welfare page on our website dbs.ie that has all sorts of answers and information that you guys might want to know regarding your mental health and welfare, or even just your general well-being.
Who to contact for help? There are so many resources available both inside and outside of DBS for you and your mental health. As a college, DBS has a wide range of resources available to our students, from links to counselling services to our very own student welfare team. We have a strong connection with the charity Nightline, a late night free and confidential student support service which runs from 9 p.m. to 2:30 a.m. Some other resources available are aware.ie. Their number and email is there as well, and also we have our Pieta House, which is one of the most popular mental health services in Ireland, and their phone number and website is there too. If you do need to get in touch, I urge you to. They are great resources and they will help you out.
All the darkness in the world cannot extinguish the light of a single candle. If you ever lose a sense of hope, remember that there is a small light there to guide you along your way. Sometimes, in order for one to shine bright, one must also burn. So be like a candle and burn, but to light up another's life.